All right, welcome back. Today we have a shoulder mobility video for you. All you're gonna need is some space against a wall, and you're gonna need a towel at one point as well, so make sure you have that close by, and let's get started. Okay, the first exercise we're gonna do are some W's against a wall. The purpose of this exercise is to open up your chest muscles and activate some of the muscles in the back of your shoulder blades. So what you're gonna do is find a wall that you can stand up against. Your heels are about 3 to 6 inches from the wall, so you don't have to be right up against it. Heels out a little bit, but you do want your butt, your shoulders, and the back of your head touching the wall if possible. If you can't get your head all the way back, that's okay. It can stay forward a little bit. What we're gonna do is open your arms up into this W position. The goal of this would be to get to the back of your hands all the way against the wall. Again, if you can't get them there, you can leave them off and that's fine. But we're gonna try to keep all 3 points of our spine, so your hips, your shoulders, your head on the wall, elbows and hands on the wall, and you're just going to reach up overhead, reaching those fingertips toward each other, and then coming back down in that W position, kind of squeezing your shoulder blades. So you're coming up and together, and then down and back, squeezing. So what we'll do is start with about 45 seconds here against the wall, reaching up, coming down and squeezing. Second mobility exercise that we're going to do for your shoulders today, you're still going to need a wall. So you're going to come down onto one knee, and the inside knee that's closest to the wall is the one that's going to be bent. We're gonna work on building some rotation through your shoulders, still focusing on opening up the chest muscles, but we're also building a little rotation into it now. So you're gonna have both arms toward the wall together. This inside arm is the one that's going to be moving. So you'll notice my thumb is in like a thumbs up position, and it's always gonna stay that position no matter where my arm goes. So right now I'm in that thumbs up position. This arm is coming up, and as soon as we get to the top, you're flipping it, so I'm still in that thumbs up, rotating all the way back, and then drawing that big kind of half circle on the wall. So as you rotate around and open up, this is where you're gonna feel the most stretch. Again, just looking to open up the chest. If you can't get all the way around, you're just gonna stop wherever you feel the most stretch and just shorten that range coming back around. So eventually what you'd hope to look like is a nice big T position on this wall, getting some rotation through the shoulder, and we're also building some rotation in through your mid-back as well. You'll want to make sure you do both sides, spending about 30 to 45 seconds on each side. And each time you come around, you're trying to make your circle just a little bit bigger. All right, we're gonna go to the other side. Again, inside knee is against the wall. Hands are together to start. Thumb is in that up position, bringing that arm up and over, having your eyes follow the hand all the way through. Making sure you're taking enough time through that stretch, not forcing any movement. Getting yourself into that tight spot, nice and slow, rotating. This whole time I'm keeping my knee against the wall and my hip against the wall, so I'm not gonna lift off to let myself have more rotation there. I'm keeping myself glued to the wall at the hip. Third shoulder mobility exercise today, you're gonna need a towel, or if you even have like a belt or like whatever you have around the house is fine. You're gonna take it lengthwise. So what we're working on is internal rotation of the shoulder. And this is something that can get kind of tight, especially as we spend our days like sitting at a computer, things like that. The towel makes this stretch easier. Some people have enough mobility to just touch their hands. I do not, so I'm gonna be using the towel and showing that to you. So what you're gonna do is take the towel over your back. So one elbow is pointed toward the ceiling, and then this other hand is coming around your back, grabbing onto that towel wherever you can reach. So the idea here is I'm kind of taking this bottom hand and slowly working it up the towel. And then once I get it to a place where I feel a decent stretch, this top hand is gonna pull up. So I'm pulling that arm up my back and then getting it to a place where I feel a nice stretch in the shoulder. and then you're just going to hold. So this stretch can be a little bit intense, especially if you're really tight in the shoulder. So this is never anything to force. So even if your hand is like way down here and you're just pulling right here, that's totally fine. Otherwise, as you hold this, and ideally you're holding this for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you can slowly work your hand up the towel or pull a little bit higher on the towel with this top hand to get that hand a little bit higher up the back. But the idea of this one is more just a pull and a hold with a gentle stretch versus any movement going on through here. All right, and then we're gonna switch sides, remembering one side is always a little tighter than the other. Grabbing that towel where you feel a gentle stretch, and then slowly making your hand up the towel, pulling a little bit higher as the seconds kind of move on and things loosen up. Our fourth mobility exercise for our shoulders, we're going to move down to the floor into a hands and knees position. This exercise is now to stretch out the back of the shoulder. So we've got the front of the chest, we've gotten our rotators a little bit, so now we're working on the back of the shoulder. If you've done yoga before, this is called a thread the needle exercise. What you're going to do is get into hands and knees position. You're going to take one hand and it's going to thread through between the hand and the knee of the other side. Your hips are going to stay high in the air for this one. So I'm taking my hand, reaching through and giving myself a little twist, trying to get your shoulder all the way to the floor. This top hand can either reach out overhead, it can stay right here next to you, or you can wrap it around your back. And this is more of a hold kind of stretch as well, finding a place where you can rest on the floor. The idea is to get the stretch back here through the shoulder blade. So I'm really reaching that arm nice and long, threading this arm around, or maybe reaching overhead, getting a little extra stretch into that arm as well. And you'll hold here for about 30 to 45 seconds before you switch sides. Now we're gonna switch sides. So other hand comes through, reaching through. Again, letting yourself kind of rotate through that upper back. Opposite hand can be overhead or wrapped around your back this way. You should have your head resting on the floor. And if you're real tight and you need to even give yourself a place to put your head, that's okay too. But we're just resting, stretching through the upper back between the shoulder blades. All right, we always like to end our mobility with a little bit of activation. So anytime you do a mobility routine with me, the very last thing we'll do is activate the areas that we just stretched out. So we gained a little new space through our chest and our shoulders. So now what we want to do is activate the muscles throughout that new area that we have. So we're staying on hands and knees, and we're going to work through a little mid-back rotation. You're going to take one hand either behind your head or right next to your head, doesn't really matter where. Your elbow is going to be rotating down toward that opposite elbow, and then you're pushing your hand into the floor, driving that elbow up toward the ceiling. So what this is going to do is kind of activate your muscles through some of these positions that we just stretched through. So our mid-back, behind our shoulder, in front of our shoulder. I'm pushing one hand into the floor while I'm reaching that other elbow up and over. You're going to go down and up 10 to 15 on one side, 10 to 15 on the other side. We're going to switch sides. So opposite hand is planted on the floor, and you might be able to see the activation in my upper back better from this side. So as we drive that elbow down, then we're pushing away. So I'm pushing with these muscles to open up. So I'm coming through, pushing up, and coming back down. Again, we've got about 10 to 15. All All right, so that is our shoulder mobility routine. This is something you can just go through kind of one time, or if you feel like you need to repeat it a second time, that would be great. A great way to loosen up shoulders, upper back, work on that posture, especially if you're someone that sits a lot during the day. This could feel really, really good at the end of the day after you're done working or doing whatever you're doing. So thank you for watching, and come back another time to learn some more.